vineyard.com, and don't forget to join us at the river.
Welcome back, everybody, to the PM Show with your host, Fred Dreyer.
Thank you, Paul Stern. Welcome back to the show. We're just discussing my gopher and the very realistic chances of me catching that gopher, as opposed to the people of America getting the best candidate for the situation here. And I want to talk to you folks a little bit about the subject matter of not only our candidates, our political condition. Later on, we're going to discuss how that affects what's been going on for the last month in New York City. And now, Paul Stern, as it's now starting to spread beautifully, this idiocy is starting to spread beautifully around the United States and around the world. I guess there's some other socialist countries now who have been twittering and tweaking and dabbling in the digital world. And copying what America's doing, and it would be great if they could copy constitutional conservatism as opposed to mindless texting, Facebook idiocy, while people defecate in the streets of New York City. But that is not the case, and we're left with the ignominy of having to suffer through the acting out of what I believe is the dirty bathtub ring of liberalism, and that's what you're seeing in the streets. And I think the way America is unfolding, the elements that are showing itself to be true, is to me beautiful. I used to tell a friend of mine, Tony Mordente, he's a terrific guy. He's a director. He directed some of our hunter shows, and he would call me and just say, it's all coming apart. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to get in my Jeep. I'm going to drive out into the desert. I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, Tony, you got to thank the good Lord that this is all acting out. All of this stuff is coming out. Everything that you hate and everything that you want exposed is now showing itself. This is a good thing, what's happening today. And I feel that way, don't you, Paul? I mean, don't you think that it's as maddening and as frustrating as it is? It's part of the process of this stuff coming out, being talked about, and eventually being addressed and hopefully acted upon.
Okay, I'm not one of those people that's afraid of confrontation, debate, dialogue, discussion. I think that's all good stuff. And I think if that's what this is going to lead to kind of get people to kind of grind out some issues, I think it is a good thing.
Yeah, even if the conversations are really stupid, like this acting out of this, I guess you're going to call it the occupation proclamation, and I understand they're now airlifting and airdropping toilet paper into the area for obvious reasons, and people are twittering and squatting, and they're using their cell phones, and they're acting out. There's a tantrum here that somehow there's a genetic genome left over from the 60s, 45 years ago. I was 20 years of age in 1966 on the campus at San Diego State, and I saw this hideous politic come out of the ground. I remember one day standing in my living room at my mother's house. I drive up to L.A. and I visit with her on the weekends, and we turn the TV on. And, of course, no matter what time of day, the radio, television, didn't make any difference, headlines on the L.A. Times, no matter what it was, the culture was full of protest. It was full of something was going on. Someone was getting shot. Someone was getting arrested. People down in the South were hosing down blacks with German shepherds, barking at their heels. There was always something. There was napalm in the background of every television show. There was excitement, and there was unrest, and there was enmity and hate and everything in the streets. And my mom looked at the television, and she shook her head one day and just said, "Boy, we're going to pay for this." And I never really understood what it meant. I do now. I do understand now. This country has, as beautiful as it is, and believe me, our founding fathers were the greatest protesters on record. Look what came out of it.
The original protester.
They set the standard for protesting. I doubt very seriously if they defecated in the streets, protesting English rule. But I do know that right now we're right in the middle of this acting out, and it's interesting how the 60s politic of 45 years ago now has become generational. You're now seeing 3 and 4 generations after the original in-your-face, if you can't love the one you're with, or one you want, love the one you're with, I always called it the back of albums philosophy, all the stuff that the Buffalo Springfield wrote in their songs became a politic, and so what we have is now a conversation with really stupid people. And my real big concern here is that going forward, what kind of a candidate is America going to get when it needs the best candidate? And what is the best candidate? And I'm not being political when I say it, but you have to address it politically because it's a political issue. But you've got to be able to find somebody who understands the problem and can articulate it correctly in order to inform people, especially independents who are sitting there, waiting for, the right dessert to hit, to use the right fork. If you don't curry the favor of the independents, they'll get snooty and they'll go a different direction, And the left of center, John McCain, T-Rex, Mitt Romney, left of center, George Bush, Karl Roveization of conservative politics is dancing around independents. They're frightened to death to talk to independents. They want to make sure that they're conservative in nature, in spirit, but yet left of center enough to be fair and balanced. I hate to use Sean Hannity's terms here, but and that's what it is. And I've always felt that the truth is not fair, nor is it balanced. And this we report, you decide BS is certainly a mantra of corporate networks, but what we have is a desperate need for someone to stand up and tell the truth about where we are, what we need. And I believe Newt Gingrich right now, Rick Santorum, and even Michelle Bachmann. I don't think that she's strong enough as a person to withstand the slings and arrows of what's going to happen to the candidate, because you're going to see, gearing up and going forward, the ugliest, calumnious, ad hoc, ad hominem attacks on conservative candidates, or Republican candidates, if you will, between now and next November. You're going to see an explosion of ugly, vulgar, European, socialist, Marxist politics, $1 billion worth of marketing going to be pushed on the American people. They're going to try to get Barry to back into office based on the fact that that Republicans and the branding of this economic failure belongs to the Republicans, and try to get people to look at that as opposed to looking at the socialist Muhammad Atta terrorist approach of Barack Hussein Obama and what he's been doing the last 3 years. And we're going to continue this conversation when we get back. This is the Fred Dryer radio program. Don't go away.